In this video, we're going to talk about how to start a career in politics. It isn't hard if you know how to do it. Please listen to what I'm about to tell you because I'm going to save you a lot of time and I have a free gift for you at the end of this video. We're going to start this by talking about the knowledge that you need to own, where you go to meet people who can be helpful to you in your political ambitions, what you should know about the art of making friends and keeping friends, and the skills that you need to develop if you want to have a political career. I'm going to start with something fundamental about running for office and being a good candidate. Go fill your head with knowledge. And here's the point. If you are clueless about what is going on in the world, your country, your state, the jurisdiction where you're running, you are never going to make a good impression on anyone. If you want to run for office someday, you're in essence asking for the power to fix a problem. Your voters that you encounter, the opinion leaders that you meet, are not going to be impressed if you're clueless. Now, I have my favorite sources for this, and I'll name a few of them, but here is something that you should be doing each and every day if you want to someday start a political career. Glance at the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal. They cover world events, national events in great detail. You don't have to read every article, but you can glance at the headlines to see what happened in the world the day before. And if you're really curious about something, of course, read the story. If you are running for a federal office, say Congress or the U.S. Senate, or have ambitions to do that someday, you might want to glance at a publication called Politico. It covers politics in Washington, D.C. in greater detail than either the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal. It is kind of a paper for political junkies. And then let's think about your state and jurisdiction. Do you have a local newspaper that is widely read that does a pretty good job of covering community events? Do you have a statewide publication that you can reliably depend on to give you an accurate portrayal of what's going on in your state? Statewide newspapers cover the activities of the state legislature and policy disagreements that they have. The point of this is make it a practice to be informed, to stay informed, because you never know when you're going to encounter someone in the course of starting your career who's very, very influential, who may be able to help you, and you're not going to impress them if you're clueless about what's going on in the world. There's a book I'm also going to suggest that you read if you want to run for office. It is called The Art of War, written by Sun Tzu. Politics is civilized warfare. There are tactics that you can use in the course of a political campaign that are in that book. How to take advantage of your opponent, how to surprise your opponent, how to win a guerrilla war. And you need to be very well versed on the kind of combat that you are going to encounter when you do run for office. The second way to start a political career is to develop a network of people who can be helpful to you, and there are certain places to spend your time that are better than others. So I'm going to use the terms volunteer, go, do, and join. Let's start with the most important organizations you can circulate with if you want to run for office. You have a political party in your community. That political party has elected leadership. That political party is active in your community. They have meetings. So go to the political party meetings, go to their events, show up, volunteer to help some candidates that they're supporting in a political campaign, and you're going to meet people who could be helpful to you. Second place to volunteer is if you see candidates running for office that you like, volunteer for them, because in so doing, you're going to make friends with the candidate running for that office who could someday be helpful to you. And you're going to meet people on their staff who are very knowledgeable about politics who could also someday be helpful to you. You're going to run into people at their events as you're volunteering that you can use to expand your network of influential people. The third thing to look at is the civic and community organizations in your jurisdiction. Volunteer for some of them. Get involved in an organization that helps deliver services to the poor. Perhaps get involved in your church and volunteer to help with some of their community outreach activities. Sample the Kiwanis Club or the Wyans Club if you have them in your community. You don't have to join all of them, you don't have to get involved with all of them, but if you go to them and you'll sample them, you may get an idea of which ones have the kind of movers and shakers you need to circulate with. And I'm going to tell you a short story. I wasn't running for office, but 25 years ago, I moved into a community where I didn't know anybody. I liked the house that was there, and so I moved there. And after I moved in, I decided, well, I need to know some people in this community. So I did some of what I just suggested to you. I went to a Kiwanis meeting. I went to a Rotary meeting. I went to a Lions Club meeting. I went to a Chamber of Commerce meeting just to see what was going on. Well, unlike the first three I mentioned, when I went to this Chamber of Commerce meeting, it was unlike any other meeting I had ever been to. There were very, very well-dressed people, passionate, energetic, dressed to the nines, people who were well-spoken, obviously very, very well educated. And I decided after doing that if I wanted to be involved in an organization where I was going to meet influential people and opinion leaders in the community, that I ought to spend my time at the Chamber of Commerce. You can do the same kind of experimentation in your community so that you meet influential community leaders who can someday be helpful to you. Not only should you meet people and try your best to make new friends, but remember one rule about friendship. To make a friend, you have to be a friend. And some of these people that you meet doing the activities that I described, you never want to let that friendship grow cold. So when you've gone to an event and you've met 2 or 3 people that you think have a lot on the ball and may have a lot of influence, when you get home that night, send them an email. Or, better yet, sit down that evening and write a thank you note to them and tell them how much you enjoy meeting them and how much you would enjoy having a cup of coffee with them at their first opportunity. That'll mean even more than an email. When you have a friend in need, be quick to respond to a friend in need. That will get you a friend for life. That will get you a friend who may volunteer in your campaign in the future. Now, I've seen candidates in the early stages of a political career grow the number of lists, grow the size of the list of people they know in their community. I worked with a candidate a couple of years ago who started this way, and over a period of 4 months, he accumulated 300 people that he had talked to during that 4-month period, all of whom were people who could be helpful to him in a campaign that he was planning. And you know what? They all voted for him. They all helped him. A lot of them gave him money, and it helped jumpstart his career. And in fact, it helped him win the election before the election was even waged. The final thing I'm going to touch on here is something that all candidates have to do, and there's never a better time to learn it than starting right now. You cannot run for office if you can't speak in public. There is an art to developing that skill, but it is an acquired art. Nobody's born with the talent to speak. Anybody who's a good speaker has worked hard at becoming a good speaker, and you can be a great speaker if you put your mind to it. So I'm going to suggest here that it is a worthy investment for you to hire a coach or a speech coach or a debate coach who can teach you how to articulate your thoughts on a stage without a podium and without notes. The better you can do that, the better you can craft your words, the better you are at motivating people and changing the way they feel with things that you're passionate about fixing, the better the candidate you will be. It is a great way to be noticed, and people, when they see candidates who can do that, are immediately attracted to them. I mentioned that I had a free gift. It's in the description of a video. What you get by volunteering in a campaign, it is one of the activities I suggested, and it will give you a litany of why that is a great use of your time.